Do people love Friends so much? In the year 1994, when David Crane and Martha Kaufman created a sitcom about six friends hanging out in a coffee house, if only they could know that over 10 years of the series and even 25 years post the first season being aired, it would be a sensation, a craze, and a drive carried by almost 2 generations of fans till now and counting. Friends, ever since the first season was televised, became an instant hit among the audience, not because of some extraordinary star cast. Back then, it was just a few good actors starting their careers to get established in Hollywood. Well, this sitcom only made them established as A-listers. Still, each character, the main 6 characters played in the series, resonated much with the fans that these characters are now iconic and immortalized in the mind, soul, and heart of fans all around the globe. It's not like Friends had its special extravagant secret sauce kind of script. The base of the sitcom was just surrounding 6 friends and the day-to-day happenings in their individual lives and their life together as a group. What made it so special was even though it was about a group, each character was given an equal share to earn their place in the series and create a connection with the audience. Each character came with a different personality trait. However, Matthew Perry's Chandler arguably made a personality trait famous the most, being sarcastic and socially awkward and using humor as a defense mechanism, while the creators and writers even gave a backdrop to his childhood and what led to him being a sarcastic bloke and eventually being the central part of the persona he carries. But he wasn't just expressed as a funny guy. His emotional side, which actually in the initial phase of the sitcom he tried to stay refrained from, was due to the ugly fights his parents had when he was a kid, and they were divorcing as his dad comes out at the closet as a gay man. Such emotional turmoil from the beginning of life made Chandler build a wall around him and not let emotion overthrow him, making terrible dating choices and getting hurt and doing a job just for the heck of it and not out of passion. At the end of the sitcom, Chandler ends up being in a happily married life and a job where he had passion. This ride and transition his character took and the trait of his sarcasm made the audience around the world resemble so much with him, and relativity is the critical factor for nature this much craze worldwide. Similarly, other characters like Courtney Cox's Monica, a fat and underconfident girl who felt neglected by the world due to her physique and neglected by her parents for being the more brilliant kid out of their 2 kids, led her to pursue exercise, be organized, and a cleanliness drive managerial woman. This fat-to-fit transformation of hers made her particular and controlling of everything, but just like Chandler, the void of emotions created by the negligence of others towards her in the initial years and teenage years of her life led her to make some arguably wrong dating choices. The beauty of the writers was to bring the characters of Chandler and Monica together as a romantic couple. That's what made the audience click with the fact that the 2 different personalities with similar emotional needs and, most importantly, 2 friends who had each other's back always end up being together is a delightful event to experience through their television sets by the audience, and audience learned even the best way of love. That is, to be friends with one another first and other things fall in place automatically. The romance also grew between Monica's brother and Chandler's high school friend Ross, played by David Schwimmer, and Monica's high school friend Rachel, Jennifer Aniston. Again, 2 completely different individuals with poles apart personalities. Where Rachel is a rich, spoiled brat and doesn't know single stuff about life and how to be independent, leaves her would-be husband at the altar and runs to find her own identity at the starting of the series. Ross, in the pilot episode of the series, was left by her first wife as she comes out of the closet to be a lesbian. Ross had a sheer gentleman and geek personality, as was a PhD holder and university professor of paleontology. Yet at the same time, Rachel wasn't shown as not articulating as a person. But Rachel was Ross's high school crush, and the purity shown in the sitcom and the feelings he has for Rachel showed the damn character of Rachel to fall for him in return. The series showed the roller coaster ride these 2 took individually and how they make and break eventually come back together as a strong couple. It is an on-off relationship showing the audience how practical life is way different than just romance, and also maintains the root of romance that if love is there between 2 individuals for each other, in the end everything will be good and happy. 2 people will always come back together. The 2 of the main 6 characters who didn't have a romantic angle are Phoebe, played by Lisa Kudrow, and Joey, played by Matt LeBlanc. Some find them as most similar characters are both as naive and innocent in many incidents occurring in the series. As both of them met, the other 4 were new in their 20s and weren't associated during the high school period. The difference that the audience can see between Joey and Phoebe is that Joey is shown to be a chick magnet with rare knowledge of anything even simple. whereas Phoebe is shown as a conspiracy theorist and views society and people very differently. She has her logic and philosophies and is adamant with those. The audience, especially the 90s kids of the Western world, mainly America, connected with the sitcom so much that because it had all the layers of life and transition of semi-adulthood, early 20s to be full grown-up individuals. The character's journey created nuance of adapting the traits of the surface by the fans, whether consciously or subconsciously. The fandom of the show is because it brought out modern-day variation that society has or back then was just starting to accept. From Chandler's dad coming out as gay man after having a kid, or Ross's first wife Carol as a lesbian, to being pregnant with Ross's child and co-parenting their son Ben with her lesbian partner. Society gave a new perspective to the audience in which way they should now start viewing the world and accept and normalize the transition. Phoebe, the surrogate carer for her half-brother's kids, made the vision of accepting surrogacy as a procedure to give birth. Chandler, looking after Joey's expenses until he makes it as an actor, shows how friends should support each other during struggling days. Joey returned the favor to Chandler when he made a career shift, which shows how one should never forget those who were there for them during their needy period. Monica is offering Rachel a room in her apartment so that she can start on her own and be independent. It shows how true friends don't need to be an everyday connection to be there for each other. How Ross and Rachel maintain to be good friends to each other while being separated as a couple shows one's relationship falling doesn't mean they can't keep the other. This made the audience fans of the series and taught the notion of being friends after the breakup instead of being strangers and aloof. Joey's innocence, Phoebe's weirdness, Ross's articulation, Rachel's spoiled brat attitude, Monica's organizing mania, and Chandler's sarcasm made a never-ending and everlasting home in the heart of the fans. Even in today's time, every coming-of-age relates their friends group with the sitcom's group, as the series was a bit ahead of time for the third world countries, so they are learning the modernization phenomenon of friendship and life from the series. Friends brought the coffee house euphoria around the globe. Coffee houses became commonplace to hang out and chill with friends after the sitcom's baseline is a group of friends sitting in a coffee house and their talks. These attributes made the sitcom an all-time classic series and even became a factor in creating bonds of friendship as extended families to rely on, creating hope and faith in having friends. Eventually, it's the association between the characters that got watchers snared at that point and keeps them coming back, especially in an age ruled by the depression of city living and smartphones. Its freshness in every episode made the fans love it so much that they can watch the reruns without any boredom. The connectivity with the characters made it easier and so lovable worldwide. And with that, it's the end of the video. Let us know who is your favorite modeler, Rochelle, or the friendship between Joey and Phoebe. Stay tuned and subscribe for more if we'll see you on the next video.